Hey Style Explorers! Welcome back to another round of digging through Midjourney SREF codes. I'm still making my way through the SV6 range, and the further I get into it, the more I'm convinced this number space genuinely doesn't run dry. Every batch of 200 codes seems to surface a handful of looks I would never have predicted, and that's pretty much why I keep doing this. This time we are looking into the range 1600 to 1799. The format is unchanged. 200 codes tested with random word prompts, and the 50 that pulled me in the most made the cut for this video. I'm sticking with real word prompts rather than a period symbol because it shows me a lot more about how each style actually behaves once you put real subject matter through it. The other 150 styles, along with all the prompts I used, are bundled into a prompt PDF over on my Patreon. A massive thank you to everyone supporting the channel through there. It really does make these deeper explorations worth doing. Settings are exactly the same as before. 9:16 aspect ratio, seed 777, and --HD is permanently on at this point. I've stopped fighting it. There may be a couple images generated with the relaxed mode as well, but the current seed setting is not very reliable, meaning that it's very easy to get different looking images even with the exact same settings and same seed number. It's just random luck of what kind of compute resource your image generation request happens to go on. But the styles are still the same. The colours and techniques and overall themes do retain the look, in my opinion. So with that, let's get into the styles. Graphic novel style with a fantasy lean. Red mingles with bluish grey and soft salmon pink throughout. Has a vintage feel coming from the muted colours and graphic shapes. A faint green tint sits over the whole thing. Really colourful and chaotic, with an Asian theme. Patterns piled on patterns wherever you look. Gritty, post-apocalyptic vibe, with weathered machinery and a high-contrast palette. Toxic neon green splatters and drips against deep purple and black. Macabre dark fantasy in detailed monochrome line work with classic cross-hatching. Draped, tattered fabrics wrap around ghostly skeletal figures on muted sepia. Archival vintage feel with large monochrome shots of polar landscapes in warm sepia. Glaciers and icebergs presented with tactile torn paper edges. Whimsical, pop, surrealist portraits with huge, expressive eyes. Vibrant, kaleidoscopic colour comes through in mosaic patchworks and swirling spiral patterns. Anime-inspired abstract feel. Tiny, solitary figures swallowed by towering bursts of shape and colour. Fiery yellows, oranges, and deep reds in watercolour washes and ink splatters. Melancholic and introspective, with lone figures gazing over rugged cliffs and stormy seas. Dusty purples, soft pinks and deep greys built up in fine cross-hatching. Minimalist cyber-ecclesiastical look with glowing outlines of figures in religious vestments. Neon red and green contour lines slice through pitch black like wireframe signage. Raw, technical sketch energy, with blueprint lines mapping out atomic models and orbital rings. Smoky grey and black ink washes get one vibrant pop of colour sitting right at the core. Ornate dark fantasy. Horned warriors framed inside intricate, symmetrical card borders. Crimson, slate grey and off-white in clean lines, with occult sigils, very tarot-like. Surreal, retro-futuristic editorial look with avant-garde figures and oversized mushrooms. Sun-drenched oranges, soft pinks and pastel yellows against muted teal skies. Kind of cinematic. Psychological anime intensity. Figures and eyes pulled into enormous spiraling vortexes. Deep black, smoky grey and crisp white, with sparse magenta flecks and kinetic ink brushstrokes. Bold, minimalist graphic look built around iconic emblems of paintbrushes and palettes. Black and off-white, with clean line work and deliberate splashes of crimson and dripping ink. Elegant Art Deco cosmic feel, stylized mythological figures, and sweeping geometric curves. Midnight blues and purples meet warm coral and peach, with smooth gradients and fine stippling. Surreal, high-concept editorial that mixes botanical motifs with human figures and minimal infographic overlays. Midnight blues and violets clash against radiant sunset oranges and magentas. Mid-century retro-futurism with a quiet, surreal melancholy in desaturated teal and grey. Lone vintage figures dwarfed by massive stones and airships under flat, overcast light, grainy and cinematic. Byzantine icon art fused with Art Nouveau flair on glowing gold leaf. Dynamic figures and dark mythical birds framed by orange and red filigree. Intense, sacred drama. High-energy pop art fusion of large half-tone dots, chaotic splatters, and street art colour blocking. Faces split into misregistered magenta, cyan, and yellow over a screen-printed effect. Energetic, loose character sketches like animation concept art. Raw black line work with construction marks on plain white. Only key details, like jewellery, picked out in shimmering metallic gold. Dark, cinematic illustration in high contrast crimson and black, with massive glowing red moons. Solitary silhouettes and vintage structures. Moody Gothic fantasy with a screen-printed texture. Vibrant eco-punk look mixing mossy trees and yellow berries with industrial post-apocalyptic elements. High contrast yellow, teal and lime green in a grainy screen-printed poster texture. Neoclassical fine art portrait pairing soft Baroque aesthetics with rich oil paint textures on a dark ground. Powdered white updos, dramatic chiaroscuro, and fragments of gold leaf on skin and clothing. Retro cosmic comic book style with bold graphic line work and high contrast ink shading on stark black starry skies. A vibrant, hard-edged rainbow light beam pierces the composition, striking sci-fi feel. Audio-themed biomorphic Art Nouveau, swirling organic frames meeting industrial speaker grills and perforated textures. Vintage red, cream and slate with clean graphic line work. Retro-futuristic and decorative. Vibrant high-saturation lifestyle photography with rich golden light and deep high-contrast shadows. Cluttered maximalist compositions of berries, leaves and crystal glassware, lush and tactile. High-contrast vintage botanical engraving in dense black ink stippling and hatching on stark white. Gnarled roots and layered evergreen needles in a classic woodcut-inspired look. Gritty techwear cyberpunk magazine look, industrial characters in tactical gear and gas masks framed by blocky futuristic type. High contrast acid green and black, with dense urban backdrops and a grainy halftone texture. Ornate dark fantasy playing card style with Baroque filigree. Acanthus leaves and characters framed like Gothic tarots, deep crimson, slate navy, and ivory cream, tied together with crisp woodcut linework. Vibrant neon sticker illustration, Clean, bold vector portraits of modern women. Saturated synthwave, hot pink, purple and electric blue with dripping neon paint, gradient sunglasses and a die-cut white border. Contemporary fine art oil painting, blending realistic emotional portraits with abstract geometric overlays. Textured brushstrokes in rich green and earthy tones with a fractured double exposure feel, moody and introspective. Stylized coloured pencil illustration. Clean archer portraits with fine line detail and cross-hatching on cream paper. A strict duotone of bright red and deep indigo pencils for a contemporary graphic novel feel. Whimsical psychedelic folk art with a saturated rainbow palette over pastoral landscapes and fairy tale characters. Decorative swirls, stripes and filigree cover every surface. A dreamlike storybook texture. Flat decorative Japanese-inspired illustration. Delicate line work and traditional patterns on solid black. Lattice and rope structures intertwined with red camellias and botanical accents. A modern take on ukiyo-e woodblock prints. Vibrant, psychedelic vector illustration of totem poles and tropical flora in a glowing neon rainbow gradient. Soft pastel synthwave palette with clean, geometric silhouettes and subtle light leaks. Flat graphic t-shirt illustration of Mediterranean architecture and coastal scenes on dark slate blue. Muted terracotta, coral, soft blue and cream in clean vector shapes with cursive type and a screen-printed texture. Organic graphic illustration with flowing biomorphic leaf and flower bud shapes popping against solid black. Vibrant crimson and warm orange with detailed linear textures and dripping paint effects. Dynamic and tactile. High contrast manga style of industrial textures like ropes, cogs and metallic spheres in pure black and white. Intricate cross-hatching, stippling and sharp chiaroscuro give the geometry a hyper-detailed 3D look. Ethereal, dreamlike photography of classical musicians and cellos with heavy motion blur and double exposure. Warm sepia, blush pink and muted greens with shallow depth of field and soft light leaks. Impressionistic and cinematic. Vibrant psychedelic comic book illustration of prehistoric trilobites and marine life in bold, clean ink outlines. Explosively saturated rainbow colours with a soft watercolour gradient. Playful and surreal scientific look. Surreal cinematic lifestyle photography of solitary figures gazing over expansive landscapes in crisp realism. Infrared-style grading shifts greens into electric magenta pink against cool, deep cyan skies. Dynamic Asian fantasy concept art, silk punk characters and mythical creatures in loose, expressive oil brushstrokes. Lavender purple, jade green and muted ochre on off-white, accented by red ink stamps and calligraphy. Maximalist collage and mosaic portraits of women in elaborate Star Wars headpieces built from fragments of comics and newspaper. Vibrant, chaotic colour and thick texture, with hidden characters layered into the tapestry. Ultra-detailed technical blueprint style, with isometric cross-sections of monumental weaving machinery. Razor-sharp drafting lines, exploded views, and schematic text in monochrome on black, blueprint blue, or off-white. Clean, architectural infographic mixing Roman pillars and marble busts with climbing vines and citrus trees. Warm terracotta, Prussian blue, and sage green on vintage cream with precise vector line work and blueprint annotations. Minimalist experimental light refraction photography of glassy geometric totems on pitch black. Prismatic rainbow light leaks, chromatic aberration and sharp flares, mysterious and futuristic. Striking high-contrast graphic art of big cats like panthers and leopards among fish, birds and foliage. Bold duotone of deep indigo and saturated safety orange. An intense, contemporary wildlife poster. Organic, mixed-media sculpture style. Humanoid archers and birds wrapped in botanical leaves and papier-mâché. Monochrome leafy greens, veiny whites and dried moss on a clean studio backdrop. Delicate, eco-fantasy feel. Dark, whimsical, gothic fantasy with pale, elven characters, horned creatures, and plague doctor motifs. Fine line ink and smooth shading in muted charcoal and sepia on parchment with sharp crimson accents. And that wraps up another 50 picks from the pile. What jumped out at me in this batch was a strong run of those minimalist neon emblem styles, a whole series of glowing creatures and symbols floating in pitch black voids. The multi-panel storytelling looks also showed up heavily, with palettes covering everything from earthy ancient tones to deep cosmic blues. And the early picks gave us some lovely chaotic and gritty stuff, which I always enjoy seeing sit next to the cleaner graphic work. If you'd like the other 150 styles, along with all the prompts I used, the prompt PDF is waiting for you on my Patreon, with the link in the description as always. Drop a comment letting me know which of these caught your attention, and if there's a particular style direction or number range you'd like me to dig into next. I'm always open to suggestions. Thank you so much for watching, and let's continue prompting.